If you're ready to plan your first visit to Hocking Hills, or just want to take a journey through this top 10 state park in Ohio, you've clicked on the ultimate guide to exploring Hocking Hills State Park. Through this video, you'll learn how many days you need for Hocking Hills, 7 advanced tips for your first visit, 10 facts about the Hocking Hills region, and dive deep into the top 6 hikes in Hocking Hills State Park. And we'll even share with you a great place to stay during your trip. But an ultimate guide wouldn't be complete without 5 reasons you might actually hate Hocking Hills State Park. Let's get started on this ultimate guide to Hocking Hills with... The number of days you need to visit Hocking Hills State Park depends on your interest and what you want to experience while you're there. Hocking Hills State Park is located in southeastern Ohio, about 40 minutes from Columbus, and offers a variety of outdoor activities and natural attractions, including hiking, waterfalls, caves, and scenic overlooks. Here are some factors to consider when planning your visit based on the days you have available. What if I only have one day to visit Hocking Hills? We think Hocking Hills is best viewed through hiking. If you only have one day, most people will hike to Old Man's Cave. The hike from the Visitor Center to Old Man's Cave will give you the most sights to see than any other hike in Hocking Hills. As you descend into the Gorge, you will discover the most popular waterfall in the park, Upper Falls. The hike through the Gorge provides great views of Blackhand Sandstone, which is only found in the Ohio region. Devil's Bathtub is the next water feature on this hike. You'll also enjoy hiking through 2 tunnels and over a few bridges on the way to Old Man's Cave, which was inhabited by a hunter-trapper and his 2 dogs. Proceed further to see the Sphinx and Lower Falls before heading out of the Gorge and back to your car. Plan on 90 minutes of hiking here. If you're looking for more than hikes, stay until the end, as we will share some other great attractions in Hocking Hills. After Old Man's Cave, the next hike we would recommend in one day is a toss-up between Ash Cave and Cedar Falls. Ash Cave is the largest recessed cave in the eastern United States with a rich history. It was once home to native tribes, and settlers discovered the cave and found a pile of ash over 100 feet long in the cave. Settlers used it as a meeting place, and more recently, the symphony orchestra uses it for outdoor performances. The hike is easy, with the walk to the cave on a paved path. The hike out has metal steps leading out of the gorge, and you can plan on 30 to 40 minutes of hiking Ash Cave. If you would rather see the most reliable waterfall in Hocking Hills, Cedar Falls might be your next hike. We enjoyed this hike with steps leading down to the creek with a great view of Blackhand Sandstone. The waterfall is revealed from behind trees and falls about 50 feet into the pool below. When leaving Cedar Falls, you will discover more sandstone and steps leading out of the gorge back to the large parking lot, with a total hike lasting at least 30 minutes. If you have time, all 3 of these hikes can be completed in one day. You'll have to add time for driving to each location, finding parking spots, lunch, time at the Visitor Center, and more. We'll discuss what you can find at the Visitor Center later. But what if I have 2 days to visit Hocking Hills? 2 days in Hocking Hills give you more options and more immersion into Hocking Hills State Park. Definitely hike Old Man's Cave as mentioned above first thing in the morning, but we would add the hike to Whispering Cave if you want a more challenging hike through the forest and a less busy trail after reaching Lower Falls. We would also hike to Ash Cave and Cedar Falls with Old Man's Cave, like we mentioned in our one day above. On the second day, you can add 3 more areas of Hocking Hills to your hiking list. We hiked Cantwell Cliffs first. It is a more technical hike and deemed by many to be the most difficult hike in Hocking Hills. Cantwell Cliffs is in a remote section of Hocking Hills and is a more quiet trail through the forest. The landscape is exceptional with beautiful gorge views while hiking near Buckhorn Creek. Then the trail rises to the rim for the return to the parking lot. Plan on 60 to 90 minutes of hiking time for Cantwell Cliffs. The next hike takes you to the only real cave in Hocking Hills. And coming up later, we will recommend an adventure through the treetops you won't want to miss. Rock House Trail is rich in history, and yes, there is a real cave in Hocking Hills. The cave became so popular that in the 1900s, the Rock House Hotel was built on the rim to house visitors who wanted to explore the area. The trail descends into the gorge but doesn't travel to the bottom before leading into the cave that used to be home to native people and later robbers and murderers. Also called Robber's Roost, you will want to bring a flashlight to fully explore the 200 feet long and 25 foot tall cave. The hike stays on the cliff edge and exits out of the gorge with a moderate incline back to the parking lot in this 30-minute hike. If you are up for one more hike on day 2, Conkle's Hollow Nature Preserve could be the most beautiful place in the Hocking Hills. The Nature Preserve provides a wheelchair-accessible gorge trail that leads to a more rustic hiking trail into this amazing place filled with moss, lichens, rock, and an out-of-this-world experience. Plan on 30 minutes for the gorge trail. If you want to lengthen your hike with a more challenging course, while seeing views from above, hike the Rim Trail too. The hike is a loop around the gorge that is 2.1 miles in length and takes over an hour to complete. What else is there to do in Hocking Hills? We got up early and hiked these 6 hikes over 2 days and still had time the first day to go ziplining. We went to Hocking Hills canopy tours and had a blast ziplining through the trees above the Hocking River. The tour includes more than 10 zip lines of increasing length to let you ease into the experience. But your brood needs to be at least 10 years old and 70 pounds. There is no age limit, but to participate in this adventure through the trees, you must be less than 250 pounds, and everyone is weighed before the zipline tour begins. While we continue hiking through Hocking Hills with views from Conkle's Hollow Rim Trail, let's talk about places to find food and drinks in the area. Throughout the region, there are other great ways to vacation. If you are looking for local drinks, the Hocking Hills Winery and Hocking Hills Moonshine rise to the top of the list. In addition to wines, Hocking Hills Winery has charcuterie boards and other light offerings. But if you are looking for more of a meal, you can find many restaurants, with most in Logan, Ohio. We chose the Home Tavern and were not disappointed. This is a bar that we would have found in our hometown. The food was great, the beer was cold, and we had fun playing pool and watching sports. But if you are looking for coffee, check out Oasis Coffee Shop on Lake Logan in the Campbell Cove RV Park. This unique caffeinated experience is showcased with an Airstream trailer and outdoor patio. Speaking of Lake Logan, what if I have 3 or more days in Hocking Hills? With 3 or more days in Hocking Hills, you have more time to relax and unwind. Lake Logan State Park is a beautiful fishing lake about 10 minutes from Hocking Hills. You can actually stay on Lake Logan with a rental house or take your RV or tents to Campbell Cove Campground. Campbell Cove has full hookup RV sites, cottages and tent sites, and great customer service. The bathhouses are private with shower, sink, and toilet. The activities for your brood include ping pong, an arcade, and a full playground with tetherball and a jumping pad. There is a miniature golfing course called Wormburner for kids of all ages, but they don't have a pool. Instead, they have a cool swimming hole with a beach, and fishing is popular at the campground on one half of the pond and also in Lake Logan. The campground also has kayaks for rent that you can take on Lake Logan too. Here are some more views of Old Man's Cave while we discuss the less populated hikes. If Hocking Hills is too busy or you are looking for other hiking adventures, include Rockbridge State Nature Preserve, Bach Hollow State Nature Preserve, and Waukena State Nature Preserve. The park rangers at Conkle's Hollow and other hikers we met raved about these locations. For more details on these hikes, visit the Ohio DNR website links listed in our description. If you are more of a night owl, consider the John Glenn Astronomy Park. The park is open and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for special events. You are welcome to bring your own optics and cameras and check their schedule for special programs Friday and Saturday nights from March to November. View the night sky here in a place free of light pollution where you can see the Milky Way galaxy with or without a telescope. But if you just want to explore more of Hocking Hills, the Visitor Center at Old Man's Cave was opened in 2019 and boasts 8,600 square feet of interior space and a more impressive 5,000 square feet of outdoor patios. Here you can learn more about the park, ask questions, and find good bathrooms. The Visitor Center also carves out space to tell the history of Hocking Hills and the geology the region is made of, with artifacts from the area, including arrowheads and a storyboard and maps on each area within Hocking Hills. Time can be spent wandering the exhibits in the gift shop. In the shop, you can find t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, stickers, magnets, and other souvenirs. If you have more time, grab a coffee or other drink and spend some time on the patio enjoying the forest view. The number one tip for Hocking Hills is to find a way to beat the traffic. Hocking Hills State Park is free to enter, and with many metropolitan areas close by, it can get busy. If you can, schedule your trip to enjoy the park during the week. Early mornings and evenings are best. On the weekends, the parking lots fill up quickly and trails will be busy. I know many of you don't want to hear go early, but these views are from Old Man's Cave, and you will see through this video that we enjoyed the park with very few people on the trails, and we hiked Monday and Tuesday morning in June. Continue watching for 6 more tips that will make you and your brood ready for adventure in Hocking Hills State Park. Cantwell Cliffs keeps reminding me of the past. Hiking here takes you back in time. It is a more rustic trail, less improved, and the gorge surrounds you as you descend down Fat Woman Squeeze. Yep, this is actually called Fat Woman Squeeze. It's almost like an entrance into another world. Tip number 2 may be most impactful, which is to recognize the history of Hocking Hills and the people who lived here before us. As you hike and explore, take time to recognize the Native Americans that lived here, with remnants left in Ash Cave and Rock House. Following later, early settlers arrived with the timber, coal, iron ore, and flint industries. There was a gristmill at Cedar Falls, a hunter-trapper lived in Old Man's Cave with his dogs. Development occurred, and to help bring us out of the Depression, President Roosevelt created the Civilian Conservation Corps, which developed Hocking Hills State Park to make it more accessible and enjoyable to all. These are great immersive history lessons for you and your brood while hiking Hocking Hills. We're already up to number 3, and later we'll let you know when the park is open. Tip number 3 is to research the best hikes in Hocking Hills for you and your brood. Here we will use views from Conkle's Hollow Nature Preserve, as it might be our favorite. If you are looking for the most popular trail in Hocking Hills, the hike to Old Man's Cave is number 1. Extend the hike to Lower Falls for a little more adventure. If you have more time and ability, you can hike longer to Whispering Cave, all from the Visitor Center parking lot. These next 3 are the easiest hikes in Hocking Hills. Ash Cave is a great hike to the largest recessed cave in the eastern United States. Cedar Falls will take you to the most reliable waterfall in Hocking Hills State Park. The Rock House hike is the only adventure where you'll discover a real cave. Cantwell Cliffs is by many accounts the most difficult hike in Hocking Hills and showcases the efforts of the Civilian Conservation Corps. Finally, Conkle's Hollow may be the most beautiful, with the simple Gorge Trail and the tougher Rim Trail worth the effort. Let's leave the state park for a minute to share tip number 4 before we come back and let you know where the bathrooms are. When in Hocking Hills, you should go on a zipline tour. We went to Hocking Hills Canopy Tours and had a blast. We spent an afternoon ziplining through the trees above the Hocking River. This experience can be catered to your family. Our brood completed the original Canopy Tour. The tour included more than 10 zip lines of increasing length to let you ease into the experience. Hocking Hills Canopy Tours has been open since 2007, and from our eyes provided a completely safe, entertaining adventure. We started the tour with a light training. Then the first zip line was simple, low to the ground, and short. As we proceeded to zip line, the cables became higher and longer. As you are ziplining, make sure to look for deer, birds, river wildlife, and more. In our group, we had people 10 to 70 years old. Now back to the hikes with views from Ash Cave, and tip number 5 will answer the question, are there bathrooms in Hocking Hills? Every hike trailhead has bathrooms. Some are better than others. The Visitor Center at Old Man's Cave has the best bathrooms. Cedar Falls has a modern bathroom at the smaller trailhead parking lot. Ash Cave has pit toilets just after the trailhead and better bathrooms at the large parking lot. Cantwell Cliffs and Rock House have pit toilets, and Conkle's Hollow has bathroom buildings that were under repair, so porta-johns were on site for everyone's use. Our next tip will discuss what gear to take into Hocking Hills while viewing Rock House Trail. And for number 7, we will head back to Old Man's Cave. What gear do I need to hike Hocking Hills? When you are planning your trip to Hocking Hills, it is important to take the right gear. Even though the hikes are short, some are more technical than others. You might also want to stack hikes into 1 or 2 days to make the most of your time. With that in mind, here's our gear list for you to consider. Most important is to take plenty of water with you. We carried water bottles and refilled them at the Visitor Center. Number 2 is a first aid kit. Slips and trips and stumbles can happen on the easiest of hikes, and a Band-Aid or ice pack can be the thing that will keep your brood hiking. But have the first aid kit for more serious emergencies. Next up, consider your shoes. The better your shoes, the more fun and longer you can hike. I like Merrell Moab 2s and similar for all the hiking we have done. Trekking poles are great and add stability on the trail. Trekking poles also make a great gift for your little hikers and also gives them something special to enjoy when hiking. Not common in most packing lists is a rescue rope. If you are at a rim trail and someone slips off, the best way to help them might just be a rope. Rapid fire. We would also include a good, comfortable backpack with compass, maps, snacks like trail mix, granola bars, protein bars, and a sweet treat like gummy worms for motivation. In the video description, you will find a list of gear we take on our hikes. If you're watching on your TV, read the description on your mobile device while you watch. While we talk about tip number 7, enjoy views from Old Man's Cave, number 7 is make sure you know the park rules. Watch them all, as one rule that wasn't followed caused death in Hocking Hills. Alright, here are 6 questions most people ask about park rules in Hocking Hills. 1. Are the Hocking Hills trails one-way or two-way? During 2020, the park changed most trails to one-way, and they are still one-way trails at the time of this video. People in wheelchairs can use the path in Conkle's Hollow and Ash Cave as a two-way trail. One-way trails is a great rule and made the hikes more enjoyable. As you can see here, the trails are wide for a one-way trail, but as these get busy, did you notice all the people at Ash Cave, which we showed previously? Having one direction for trails is a great idea. Number 2, is Hocking Hills State Park dog friendly? The second rule is that dogs are allowed almost everywhere in Hocking Hills State Park. The only place they are not allowed is at Conkle's Hollow Nature Preserve. For more about dogs, including additional rules and the best hikes for you and your pets, watch the video we have dedicated to dogs in Hocking Hills linked in the video description. Number 3, can you swim in Hocking Hills State Park? There's no swimming or wading in Hocking Hills State Park. The rule is in place to protect the aquatic life throughout the park, to limit destruction of the park, and to reduce injury to visitors. But swimming under the waterfalls is especially dangerous, as logs and other debris can fall as well as the water. Did you notice people violating this rule earlier when we showed you scenes of Cedar Falls? Many people ignore the rule, but please, give the fish and turtles a break and stay out of the water. Let's pause with the rules because every one of our videos needs a dad joke. Why did the teacher jump in the water? Because she had to test it. Let's continue with our list. Number 4, when is Hocking Hills open? This one is easy. Hocking Hills State Park is open year-round from dawn to dusk. Cars need to be out of the parking lots by dark. Why can't we throw rocks over the cliffs in Hocking Hills? Do not throw, drop, or push anything over the cliffs or ledges. People have died from getting hit by objects being thrown off cliffs. The park is so forested that when hiking the rim trails, you will not be able to see people beneath you in the gorge. Number 6, how can visitors care for Hocking Hills State Park? Follow Leave No Trace guidelines, carry out what you carry in, and use the garbage cans available in each parking lot to dispose of waste. Enjoy wildlife at a safe distance for you and your animal. Stay on the designated trails. Only take pictures and video from the park. Respect and be courteous to other visitors of Hocking Hills State Park. Did you know people used to live in the caves in Hocking Hills State Park? Hocking Hills is full of history and geology for you and your kids to get excited about. From waterfalls and gristmills to piles of ashes, blackhand sandstone, and caves known to house robbers and thieves, Hocking Hills is more than just a beautiful walk in the woods. Here are 10 things you can share to get excited about Hocking Hills and the hikes that will help you discover them for yourself. Let's get started. The Cedar Falls hike has 3 facts worth sharing. The hike is one of the easiest in the park at only half a mile. Most families can hike this with very little effort or preparation. We even like this hike for dogs. As you hike, take notice of the forest and surrounding trees, including hemlock, beech, oak, sycamore, tulip, white pine, and maple. But we didn't mention cedar. The trees and timber industry were important to the region. Additionally, people came to the region for coal, iron ore, and flint, which is used to create sparks and fire. Early settlers looking to benefit off of Hocking Hills' rich resources saw all these cedars and gave it the name Cedar Falls. Unfortunately, most of the trees they saw were hemlocks, and the name will probably incorrectly identify the area forever. Later, we'll talk about the caves and the people that once lived there, but as we look at Cedar Falls, we come to number 2 on our list. Cedar Falls is the most reliable waterfall in the region. So reliable, in fact, a gristmill was constructed and in use during the 1800s. Gristmills are used to grind grain like corn and wheat into flour. The gristmill is no longer here, but the waterfall remains. Number 3 on our list is that the steps at Cedar Falls are special. To make the hike easier, artist at Kiyohizumi designed new steps in 1997. As you leave Cedar Falls, you won't know, but he used his experience in math and architecture to build steps in a way to make it easier to ascend and descend on the trail. The steps are called Democracy Steps for Cedar Falls 1997, and he used the word democracy as his intent of the design was to make the trail easier for everyone. The length of the steps were set so that you can change your leading foot unconsciously to balance the strain between both legs. But the most hidden feature of these steps is that they were built with recycled materials that allow for drainage without erosion and will most likely be in good condition for years to come, and they're probably the best steps you'll discover in Hocking Hills. Another easy hike brings us to number 4 on our list. Ash Cave got its name in a very simple way. In the 1800s, settlers came to the land and discovered the cave. When they walked in, they noticed a length of ashes long and wide, almost 100 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 3 feet deep inside the cave. They named the area Ash Cave due to this feature. What do you think people were doing with that large pile of ash and the fires that created it? According to the park, the cave was used by Native Americans. An excavation and study of the ashes discovered various materials for fire, animal bones, arrows, pottery, and other items. There are more assumptions of why the ash pile was so high, long, and deep, but this was a perfect natural shelter and could be assumed a great place to handle the activities of life, including preparing food, storing items, sleeping, and more. Ash Cave is the easiest hike in Hocking Hills. Ash Cave is a half-mile loop and takes about 30 minutes to explore. As you look at Ash Cave, you may wonder, how tall is Ash Cave? The expanse of the shelter is larger than life, and our 5th fact, the U-shaped cave is 700 feet wide end to end and 90 feet tall, so Ash Cave is over 2 football fields in length. From the front lip of the overhang to the back of the cave is about 100 feet. Ash Cave is the largest recessed cave in the entire eastern United States. If you slow down, you'll notice boulders on the ground. If you think a little more, those came from somewhere, probably from above. Now people every day trust that while they're hiking under Ash Cave, a boulder won't fall on them. Just something to think about as you explore the cave. Number 6 comes from the most popular hike in the park. Old Man's Cave is so popular it has the largest parking lot, which fills up quickly and is also the location of the Hocking Hills Visitor Center. Old Man Cave got its name because an old man actually lived there. Richard Rowe, a hermit, lived in the recessed cave during the early 1800s. A marker provides additional details that he discovered the area with his 2 hound dogs while he was hunting. He loved the area so much he and his hounds spent the remainder of their lives here living in the cave and surrounding area. The 1-mile hike to Old Man's Cave is popular for a reason. From the beginning, the trail amazes hikers and it only gets better after that. Upper Falls is the first waypoint, which reveals a wonderful surprise in number 7 on our list. The bridge you were just on is actually above the Upper Falls, and this is one of the more photographed spots in Hocking Hills. The bridge above the falls and the pool below, surrounded by blackhand sandstone, make it a unique feature of Hocking Hills. But that's just the beginning, as there is another waterfall after Old Man's Cave. But to get there, you get to hike past Devil's Bathtub, which is a cool water feature made better by its memorable name. Improvements have been made to the trail, like this cool new step bridge to resemble skipping stones, and then this tunnel takes you back to the past, leading you to a bridge and Old Man's Cave. But there's more, as just a short walk away is Lower Falls. The whole experience of Old Man's Cave and the waterfalls is 1.5 miles and about an hour to 90 minutes. The next stop on our list is Conkle's Hollow Nature Preserve. Number 8 is the blackhand sandstone that makes this region possible. We think Conkle's Hollow is one of the best hikes in Hocking Hills. The forest walk frames the sandstone beautifully. Sand from the rising Appalachian Mountains were deposited here by water over millions of years. All the while, pressure was being imposed on the sand. Over time, the sand has been compacted and stuck together to create hard rock. More recently, water has flowed through the region and still does to create the gorges and reveal the stone. This water flowing through Conkle's Hollow and the other hikes in the area continue the erosion process today. The Conkle's Hollow Gorge Trail is 1.5 miles and takes about a half hour to complete. If you're up for more adventure, the Rim Trail is 2.1 miles and takes about an hour and a half to complete. Number 9 continues to showcase the people that inhabited the area. Rock House was home to Native Americans. Multiple tribes called the Hocking Hills area home, including nomadic hunters, the Adena culture, Fort Ancient Indians, and the Wyandot, Delaware, and Shawnee tribes. You can find their presence at Rock House. This is a short but technical hike that is less than a mile, but has over 200 steps. In the cave, there are ovens carved in the wall and water pits in the floor, built by the inhabitants to prepare food and store fresh water. But pioneers started to settle the region in the early 1800s, and the Rock House became known as Robber's Roost, as it housed criminals and bandits hiding from the law. Seeing an opportunity, Levi Friend in the 1830s constructed a hotel where the picnic pavilion is now. The establishment included 16 rooms, a ballroom, post office, and stable. Many of the inscriptions on the Rock House walls are from people who stayed at the hotel. Prohibition may have caused the demise of the hotel and the eventual demolition of the building in the 1920s. Number 10, and maybe most important, is within all the trails and facilities in Hocking Hills and why we have access to all these great experiences. Here we will share with you Cantwell Cliffs. This trail takes a little over an hour to complete and has beautiful forest views in the gorge and on the rim for you to enjoy. The Civilian Conservation Corps improved much of the Hocking Hills Trails. The CCC was created by the United States and President Roosevelt during the Depression in 1933. The program was used to improve public lands countrywide, and Hocking Hills was a beneficiary. Hundreds of men worked the area and constructed trails, bridges, buildings, parking, and planted trees throughout the park. Company 526 worked on Cantwell Cliffs. The payroll money earned by the CCC was generally forwarded home to the corpsmen's families, which stimulated the economy and brought the country back out of despair. World War II essentially ended the CCC as these men transitioned into military service. Today, the park is managed by the Ohio DNR. Hocking Hills State Park was created in 1924. Under the park's care is over 25 miles of hiking trails and about a dozen waterfalls. The park is fragmented, meaning it's not one piece of land like most parks. Through the Hocking Hills region, there is over 2,300 acres under state park control. In addition to hiking, people can horseback ride, zipline, rock climb, and rappelling. take off-road tours, and did you know Old Man's Cave is the most popular hike in the Hocking Hills region, which sees about 5 million people annually? There are many trails around Old Man's Cave. Continue watching to not get lost in the crowd. The 1-mile hike to Old Man's Cave is popular for a reason. From the beginning, the trail amazes hikers, and it only gets better after that. Upper Falls is the first waypoint, which reveals a wonderful surprise. The bridge you were just on is actually above the Upper Falls, and this is one of the more photographed spots in Hocking Hills. The bridge above, the falls, and the pool below, surrounded by blackhand sandstone, make it a unique feature of Hocking Hills. But that's just the beginning. As we continue, notice the hike is through walls of blackhand sandstone flanking the trail and Old Man's Creek. But there's more. The hike takes you over the river on a wood bridge with green handrail, a newer addition to the next stop, Devil's Bathtub. It's a cool water feature made better by its memorable name. Part of the treasure of Old Man's Cave is walking through steps and trail features constructed by the Civilian Conservation Corps in the 1930s like these. But other improvements have been made like this cool new step bridge to resemble skipping stones. And then, this tunnel takes you back to the past, leading you to a bridge and finally Old Man's Cave. But there's more, as just a short walk away is Lower Falls. Now that you know why you want to hike to Old Man's Cave, let's get into the details. Where is Old Man's Cave? Old Man's Cave in Hocking Hills State Park is located off Ohio Highway 664, about 20 minutes from Logan, Ohio, and a little over an hour from downtown Columbus. The trailhead is at the same parking lot as the main Hocking Hills Visitor Center. The parking lot has over 350 parking spots for cars, but trailers and RVs are not accommodated in Hocking Hills State Park unless you have a Class B van or similar, or leave them in the campground. Conveniently located just east of the parking lot is the Hocking Hills State Park Campground. The Old Man's Cave trailhead is located off the southeast corner of the lot. Now that we know where it is, you are probably wondering, why is it called Old Man's Cave? Old Man's Cave got its name because an old man lived there. Richard Rowe, a hermit, lived in the recessed cave during the 1800s. Some websites have a different name for the resident. A marker in the recessed cave provides additional details that he discovered the area with his 2 hound dogs while he was hunting. He loved the area so much, he and his hounds spent the remainder of their lives here living in the cave and surrounding area. We're always excited to hear from you. Why are you looking forward to Hocking Hills State Park? As we are hiking, you'll notice most of the video is green with blackhand sandstone. The forests in Hocking Hills are awesome. What types of plants and trees can be found in Hocking Hills? Hemlock is the most popular tree that is discussed when talking about Hocking Hills. Other trees in the region include beech, oak, sycamore, tulip, white pine, and maple. These trees provide an amazing canopy that lets just the right amount of sunlight and rain in to keep the forest floor alive and vibrant. The dimensions created by the forest will become more visible if you stop and look into the forest, then look deeper and higher. The depth builds as you patiently let your eyes adjust. The forest floor is carpeted with ferns and wildflowers. You may discover Dutchman's breeches, wild geranium, and trillium to name a few flowers. Mosses and lichens grow on the sandstone trees and forest floor, adding to the depth of color and texture. How long is the hike to Old Man's Cave? Old Man's Cave is kind of a choose-your-own adventure. There is a quick route. This would be the short loop that is 1 mile. Did you know this trail, which is actually called Grandma Gatewood Trail, is also part of the larger Buckeye Trail, which travels around Ohio from Lake Erie to Cincinnati. The hike will allow you to see the Upper Falls, Devil's Bathtub, and Old Man's Cave. The 1 mile loop will take you about 30 minutes to an hour, but if you would like to travel a little further like we did, add another half mile to see the Sphinx Head and Lower Falls before returning to the parking lot. Adding this distance would provide for a full hike time of an hour to 90 minutes. Old Man's Cave has a lot to discover and explore. The time will depend on how many people are on the trail. With traffic, the hike time will take longer. Now that we know how long the trail is, how hard is that hike at Old Man's Cave in Hocking Hills? Hiking the trails at Old Man's Cave are not easy, but most people can make the hike. The biggest test would be your ability to handle stairs. Like most of the popular trails in Hocking Hills, the steps are many, and you need to go uphill and downhill. These steps are better than Cantwell Cliffs, but are more difficult than navigating stairs in your house. The inclines, declines, rocks, and roots also add to the complexity of this hike. Also note that most trails in the Hocking Hills like this one are one way. So make sure you are comfortable with walking 1.5 to 2 miles so you know you will have enough energy to make it through this hike. If you check the box on you and your brood's ability to navigate stairs and walk 2 miles, you should be good. So now that you know that your people are good, are dogs allowed at Old Man's Cave? Dogs are allowed and welcomed at Old Man's Cave Trail. We enjoyed taking our dogs to Old Man's Cave. The steps are maintained well for them, and due to the reasonable 1.5 mile loop, our labs handled the trail well. Due to the popularity of the trail, only well-behaved dogs on a 6-foot leash are allowed. Also make sure to carry your pet's waste off the trail and back to a garbage can at the parking lot. In another video that focuses on the hike to Whispering Cave, we'll share why only the most capable dog should extend past Old Man's Cave and hike that far in Hocking Hills. You already know the answer to this question, but maybe not how many. Does Old Man's Cave have a waterfall? As we showed earlier, the hike to Old Man's Cave trail has at least 2 waterfalls. The upper falls close to the trailhead is only 20 feet tall. It generally flows all year, but the flow is directly related to rainstorms. If you want to see the fall with a lot of volume, make sure to visit after rains have started to see the best experience. But did you consider earlier that Devil's Bathtub is a waterfall? As the creek flows over the sandstone, it falls into the geologic bathtub and swirls before falling again and continuing downstream. Look closely at Old Man's Cave too. Under the recessed cave is a waterfall over the sandstone. Lower Falls is next. At about 25 feet tall, the water falls further than Upper Falls and again cascades down the sandstone into a beautiful pool surrounded by green vegetation, blanketed over and above the blackened sandstone. But if you want one more, Broken Rock Falls is located on a short spur off Old Man's Cave Trail. Let's get back to logistics and more details. Are there bathrooms at Old Man's Cave? The Ohio Department of Natural Resources built the Visitor Center at Old Man's Cave Trail in 2019. It is located on the southwest side of the parking lot. This is the central hub of Hocking Hills State Park. Here you will find modern bathrooms, a gift shop, information center, and interpretive center to learn more about the park, its history, geology, and how to stay safe hiking in the region. Never throw anything over the rim. At the trailhead, there is a sign that says, "Caution, cliffs, stay on posted trails." And more importantly, throwing objects over the cliff is prohibited. A photographer died when kids threw a log off the cliff edge above her. There is a lot of water on this trail, so you might wonder, can I get in the water at Old Man's Cave? But more importantly, can you swim in the Devil's Bathtub at Hocking Hills? Devil's Bathtub is just one of the water features near Old Man's Cave in Hocking Hills, Ohio. Old Man's Cave Trail has a few pools of water, the creek, and waterfalls. Stepping into the water and swimming are prohibited in Hocking Hills State Park and Old Man's Cave. And no, you can't swim or take a bath in Devil's Bathtub at Hocking Hills. The main reason is to protect the fish and other aquatic species. This also provides a better view of the waterfalls and surrounding area when the trail is busy. Second, objects in the water can be slippery, and for the safety of hikers, wading into the water is prohibited. The sandstone can be especially slippery. So what exactly is Old Man's Cave in Hocking Hills? There are not a lot of details on Old Man's Cave. Every conversation talks generally about the trail and not the cave itself. The recessed cave is part of a 75-foot wall of blackhand sandstone above Old Man's Creek. The recess is about 250 feet long and 50 feet high. Down at the creek level, there is a waterfall as the creek takes a step lower below the cave. The creek then flows beyond a man-made stone wall. The old man is said to be buried here along with possibly 2 brothers who lived here previously. These recessed caves throughout the region have been used as shelters. The protection Old Man's Cave offers from the wind, rain, and snow would have been a great alternative to building a house or cabin in the woods. Also, having access to fresh, clean water all year makes this a great place to call home in the late 1800s. Don't be discouraged by people who say Cantwell Cliffs is a difficult hike. You're in the right place to learn whether this trail is actually difficult, and we'll share 6 things to make sure you and your brood are ready to hike the most underrated trail in Hocking Hills. Let's get started. Where is Cantwell Cliffs? Cantwell Cliffs is northwest of the main park. It's actually separated into its own section of property about 7 miles north on State Highway 374. Hocking Hills State Park is multiple pieces of land throughout the Hocking Hills region. You'll notice driving through the area is part of the splendor of Hocking Hills. The roads are rural and there is a varied terrain. The hills and twists and turns convince you to take it slow and enjoy the scenery. As you drive, you will see rolling hills of forest and pasture. The Ohio Scenic Byway, much of which is on 374 through Hocking Hills, shares some of the best views from your windshield. It is a vastly different experience than nearby Columbus, just a short 40 minutes northwest. Now that we know the location, let's discuss what you will find when you pull into the parking lot. Later, we'll discuss who the trail is named after and, more importantly, the men who built the trail and facilities in Cantwell Cliffs. There are at least 50 parking spots at Cantwell Cliffs, but because it is a little further away, it seems this trail is less busy. It may also be due to the communicated difficulty of the trail. The parking lot has pit toilets available for use and a little log cabin used by rangers in the summer as a visitor's center. There is also a pavilion and picnic area near the parking lot and trail. At the trailhead, there is a sign that says, "Caution, cliffs. stay on posted trails, and more importantly, throwing objects over the cliffs is prohibited. We'll discuss the hike difficulty for humans later, but first, is the hike too difficult for dogs? The hike starts at the parking lot and descends into the gorge. This part of the trail is called Fat Woman's Squeeze. Can you tell why? We got our first look of the steps, and we're very happy to have left our labs back at the RV. From rim to gorge, the descent is 150 feet of vertical elevation change. Dogs are allowed well behaved and on a 6-foot leash. But this is the most technical and difficult trail in the park system. We would not recommend dogs on this trail for 2 reasons. 1, for the dog's safety. 2, hiking needs to be your most important priority. By leaving your pets at home, you allow yourself to have additional focus on your hike, to reduce the risk of injury or death, and enjoy the scenery and beauty of the trail. How high are Cantwell Cliffs, and what can you see on the trail? Cantwell Cliffs are hiding Buck Run Creek, deep in the gorge. The gorge walls are over 150 feet tall. The water flowing through has caused erosion and created the deep gorge over thousands of years. The trees consist of the region's hemlock and black birch. The forest floor is carpeted with ferns and wildflowers, including trilliums and hydrangea. This hike, like most in Hocking Hills, is bright green in the summer and full of vegetation. Through the forest, boulders called slump blocks are randomly scattered throughout the gorge as they have landed from their previous attachment to the gorge walls. The black sandstone cliffs provide additional features to help you know this trail is special and maybe the underrated hike in the Hocking Hills. History is next, and later we'll discuss the hike details and how difficult the trail really is. There isn't a lot of history to this trail. We did find that Cantwell Cliffs is named after Josiah Cantwell, an early settler to the region. But you will also notice the letter CCC often as people discuss Hocking Hills. The Civilian Conservation Corps improved much of the Hocking Hills trails. The CCC was created by the United States and President Roosevelt during the Depression in 1933. The program was used to improve public lands countrywide, and Hocking Hills was a beneficiary. Hundreds of men worked the area and constructed trails, bridges, buildings, parking, and planted trees throughout the park. Company 526 worked on Cantwell Cliffs. CCC pay was generally forwarded home to the corpsmen's families, which stimulated the economy and brought the country back out of despair. World War II essentially ended the CCC as these men transitioned into military service. Every hike needs a dad joke. Why did the girl keep exploring for rocks along the trail? She was sedimental. As you watch, check out our description for links to more information on Cantwell Cliffs and Hocking Hills. How long does it take to hike the Cantwell Cliffs? We chose to hike the Gorge Trail and then proceed up the Rim Trail to finish that loop back to the parking lot. The trail maps on the internet sometimes show a longer Gorge Trail loop. We only saw the smaller Gorge Trail hike and then proceeded up the gorge and finished the Rim Trail loop back to the parking lot. We think this is a great way to see and hike Cantwell Cliffs. This path took us about an hour from start to finish, so plan about an hour and a half from the time you pull into the parking lot to the time you leave. Some of your brood may need to use the bathroom, and it takes a little bit to gear up and grab trekking poles, packs, and water. The elevation change of about 200 vertical feet is noticeable with all the steps along the trail. There are multiple sets of stairs as you descend and ascend the gorge. To really enjoy all of Cantwell Cliffs, we recommend the full loop. Inside the gorge, you will enjoy being enclosed by the forest, like being in another world. You'll be amazed that while you are walking, you almost believe a dinosaur or Ewok from Star Wars or other creature will peek out from behind a boulder. But on the rim, you will be able to look down and see a totally different view to add to your adventure. What is the hardest hike in Hocking Hills? Of the top 6 hikes in Hocking Hills, Ash Cave, Cedar Falls, and Rock House are short and easier to complete. Old Man's Cave, which is undeniably the most popular, is just a little more difficult. Conkle's Hollow, which may be our favorite for its surprise at the end of the Gorge Trail, is longer, and although the gorge has an accessible paved trail, the Rim Trail takes effort and technical ability. Watch our other videos to learn about these hikes. Cantwell Cliffs is the most difficult of these 6 trails, partly due to its length. But here's why we think the Cantwell Cliffs Trail seems difficult to most people. As we hiked the trail, the steps were uneven. Some of the steps were loose, and the wood used to support the steps were oriented like diamonds, with the corner of the wood in the air instead of flat on the ground. Significant general maintenance of this trail is required for casual hikers to feel comfortable in Cantwell Cliffs. You will notice the awkward steps as soon as you descend down Fat Woman's Squeeze. We've hiked national parks all over the country with more technical trails and greater difficulty and more risk. However, those trails although maybe more dangerous, seem safer as they were well maintained. Cantwell Cliffs is a great hike. The trail is technical and safe to hike, and anyone who can navigate uneven steps and walk 1.5 miles will enjoy Cantwell Cliffs. Come with us to find out whether the reasons to explore Rock House and Hocking Hills is a waste of time, and learn the things you need to know before going any further. In order to help you make your decision to hike Rock House, we'll save our opinion until later, but right now let's discuss the location of Rock House and reasons this trail is a popular hike in Hocking Hills. Coming up, we will answer the question, what is Rock House in Hocking Hills? Rock House is located in the northwest corner of Hocking Hills State Park in southeast Ohio, off of 374 just north of Thompson Ridge Road. There are 2 parking lots available. A larger lot with over 60 spaces is located by the pavilion that used to be the site of the Rock House Hotel, which we will discuss later, but at the trailhead there is a smaller lot where we parked. Hocking Hills is actually a state park of many places. The park is not just one piece of land, but many, and each place is still located in the Hocking Hills region of Ohio, as you can see on the map. But all the features of Hocking Hills are within about 15 minutes of each other. What is the story of the Rock House? Rock House is rich in history and has been used by many over the years. Rock House has features left by Native Americans. Shaped in the cave walls are ovens used for baking food and also maybe for medicinal purposes, and in the floor of Rock House are holding pits for fresh water. The Native Americans are said to have used the ovens or stills to bake the sap out of pine wood to create turpentine. Did you know turpentine was used by many for medicinal purposes up until the 1960s? Turpentine was actually invented in the southeast United States. Research has its roots in Florida, Virginia, and the Carolinas. It's amazing that a form of medicine is now almost only used as an oil-based paint thinner. Also carved out of the sandstone, the handmade cavities in the floor filled with fresh water when rains caused water to flow through the cave, providing residents with a store of fresh water. We'll let you know later the one thing you will need in your pack to have the best chance to spot the ovens and water storage pits in Rock House. We'll get back to the history in a minute. Let's talk about the hike details next. The hike begins at the trailhead parking lot. Rock House Trail is a 0.8-mile loop with 200 feet of elevation gain. Like most trails in the Hocking Hills region, the elevation change requires about 200 stair steps, but the trail is wide and inviting. The loop returns you to the larger parking lot and the shelter, which was the location of the Rock House Hotel. Toilets are located at the beginning and end of the Gorge Trail near the 2 parking lots. We hiked early during a low-traffic weekday and took the Rim Trail back to the Gorge Trail and returned to the trailhead parking via that route. But as the trail is one way, this isn't recommended during busy times. Located at waypoints on the trail are maps. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources done a good job of providing these map stations throughout the park system. We especially liked the letters and the lettered waypoints on the maps. It's a great way to figure out where you are and where you need to go. And it's also good for those that didn't get a paper map. You've seen a lot of the trail, and some of you may be questioning, are dogs allowed on Rock House Trail? Ohio State Parks allow dogs on Rock House Trail, but we would only recommend the trail for active dogs. For example, the only dog we did see on the trail was a Belgian Malinois, and we did not bring our labs. These dogs are great, but the owner left a pile of fresh poop on the trail for every hiker that passed after him. When you are hiking, carry your waste and your pet's waste out of the park or into a park-supplied garbage can. So, what is Rock House in Logan, Ohio? Rock House is a 25 feet high by 200 feet long cave of blackhand sandstone. The Rock House has also been called Robber's Roost, as it has been a hideout for robbers, thieves, and murderers. The cave provides lookouts through windows and is suspended above the gorge and below the rim on the cliff wall. Rock House is generally hidden from above. The rock has been carved by erosion via water running through it over centuries. Water continues to run when there is rain. While walking up to Rock House, be quiet and listen. We heard a scary sound coming out of the cave that we couldn't identify. As we inspected closer, we found doves, residents of the cave, making their bird noises, and the sound echoed through Rock House and out into the gorge. If you have a fear of birds, beware. Don't feed them, but they are friendly and generally keep their distance. As you explore the cave, look for the features Native Americans left for us to discover. Also notice all of the inscriptions carved in the sandstone. Most of these are from the guests of Rock House Hotel. We'll discuss in a minute. As you move to the end of Rock House, you will notice a man-made wall of stone. The Rock House, as we mentioned, has been used by many. Our research found that a farmer may have used it for storing grain and as a livestock shelter. But later, the Rock House Hotel was built. In the 1830s, Levi Friend constructed a hotel. The site of the hotel is the same location as the current picnic shelter. The hotel had 16 rooms, a ballroom, post office, and stables for horses. The hotel was sold to Colonel Rempel in the late 1870s and housed travelers for decades. Pictures of the Rock House Hotel show a large balcony as well as a full porch along one side. Prohibition may have caused the demise of the hotel and the eventual demolition of the building in the 1920s. This hike isn't just about Rock House. The journey through the gorge is as memorable as any hike in Hocking Hills. The ferns, wildflowers, mosses, and lichens carpet the forest floor with beautiful greens and flower colors. You might see trillium, bloodroot, or wild geranium. The trees above, including hemlock, oak, maple, and pine, provide a ceiling far into the sky to your amazement and wonder. Along the trail, rock and ledges add to the depth and variety of the view. The rim trail hikes right over the Rock House and provides for a side view of Rock House from above. The trail provides a good perspective on how hidden the cave is to passers-by. So would you recommend Rock House? Rock House is definitely one of the top 6 hikes in Hocking Hills by popularity. So to compare these hikes against Rock House, Old Man's Cave is the most popular. We think Conkle's Hollow is the most beautiful and provides a longer, more immersed experience. Rock House is a quick hike and it ended about as fast as it started. If you are looking to add hikes to Rock House, Cantwell Cliffs is a little north and is longer and more technical. For similar hikes of this difficulty and length and beauty, we would recommend Cedar Falls and Ash Cave. We're looking forward to sharing with you Cedar Falls Trail and some of the other places in Hocking Hills where you can see gravity, water, and black hand sandstone create beautiful places. Let's first talk about the location of Cedar Falls, and later we will discuss the hike's details. Cedar Falls is located in Hocking Hills State Park off of Road 374. There are actually 3 parking areas that gain easy access to the falls. There is a small place to park right on 374 with less than 10 parking spots, but there's a larger parking lot just off 374 as you head to the trailhead. For us, the third spot, the trailhead parking, was the best. There is a map there and good bathrooms with flush toilets, but most importantly, the trail is one way and the start of the trail is here. The trailhead parking has about 15 spots, and the larger parking lot where the trail finishes has about 50, so there isn't a lot of space here. Would you like to hear a little history about Cedar Falls? Cedar Falls was part of a commercial enterprise in the 1800s. We'll share that next and let you know later whether you can enter the water. There's a little known history around Cedar Falls. Funny to us is that the early settlers actually named the falls incorrectly. They called the falls after all the cedar trees that surrounded the area, but what they thought were cedars are actually the hemlocks we can see today. That isn't all. Did you know the falls are strong enough to power a grist mill that used to grind grain, and the mill was situated at the top of the falls in the 1800s? Cedar Falls is the most powerful and most reliable falls in the region. The next question you might have is, how difficult is hiking Cedar Falls? The trail is a half-mile loop that starts at the trailhead parking area and ends at the larger parking lot. Hikers can use the road to walk between parking areas at the start or finish of their hike. The hike is a quick, easy hike, like many in Hocking Hills. If you can climb stairs and generally walk a mile, you will have a great time visiting Cedar Falls. We actually have something about the stairs later. But if you have balance issues or want a little more stability on the trail, trekking poles can help. Also, if you want to pack a lunch or just have a couple of items like a first aid kit, snacks, and water, a backpack is a great idea. The pack will allow you to use your hands freely and keep your weight balanced. Plan on spending at least a half hour to hike the trail and enjoy viewing Cedar Falls and the pool of water and blackhand sandstone. Every hike needs a dad joke. How do waterfalls communicate with each other? They stream messages back and forth. Now back to the Cedar Falls experience and an important question. Are dogs allowed in Hocking Hills? Dogs are welcome on the Cedar Falls Trail with good behavior and a 6-foot leash, and this is one of the better trails for dogs. The footing is generally soft for the animals and provide a pleasant experience for your pets. The trail is also wide to allow space between you and others on the trail. The steps are spaced out well with decent height, so each step isn't too high for medium-sized dogs and larger. So if your dog can climb the stairs in your house or apartment, these steps should be easy for them. Bring dog waste bags and carry out their waste. Can I swim in Cedar Falls or wade into the water at Cedar Falls? Ohio state parks prohibit you from entering the water. Although you can see people doing it in this video, the park's intent is to protect the wildlife and allow fish and other aquatic species to go about their way without being disrupted. But the law is there to protect humans too. The waterfalls can also rain debris onto people like falling rocks and wood. Additionally, the rocks in the water are slip and trip hazards that can cause injury. And who really wants to get bit by a snapping turtle or snake? So save the fish some stress and anxiety and stay out of the water for their sake. The waterfall is about 50 feet in height and is part of Queer Creek that flows through Hocking Hills. The fall descends over blackhand sandstone before it falls freely into the pool below. As you sit and gaze at the falls, you also take in the trees and plants. Hemlock is the most talked about tree in Hocking Hills. Other trees in the region include beech and maple. Plants really add depth to the forest floor. Ferns, shrubs, and wildflowers, lichens, and mosses round out the beautiful views. Did you know a much longer trail goes through Hocking Hills too? The longer Buckeye Trail shares a path with the Cedar Falls Trail. The Buckeye Trail is 1,400 miles and has a rich history beginning with a newspaper article in 1958. The trail goes around Ohio from Lake Erie to the Ohio River, but in Hocking Hills, in addition to Cedar Falls, you can hike the Buckeye near Ash Cave and Old Man's Cave. For more on the Buckeye Trail, check the link in our description. As we climb the stairs, it's a good time to share another bit of history and significance. Artist Akio Hazumi designed the steps in 1997. You won't know, but he used his experience in math and architecture to build steps in a way to make it easier to ascend and descend on the trail. The steps are called Democracy Steps for Cedar Falls 1997, and use the word democracy as his intent was to make the trail easier for all, even your brood. The length of the steps were set so you can change your leading foot unconsciously to balance the strain between both legs. But the most hidden feature of these steps is that they were built with recycled materials that allow for drainage without erosion and will most likely be in good condition for years to come. We look forward to sharing with you hiking Conkle's Hollow Preserve and what to do to make sure you can keep hiking as a family. Let's first talk about the location of Conkle's Hollow, and we promise to share how this hike almost ended our hiking together. Conkle's Hollow Nature Preserve is in the Hocking Hills region of southeast Ohio, about 40 minutes from Columbus, Ohio, but technically it is not part of Hocking Hills State Park. It is actually a nature preserve in existence to preserve the wildlife, plants, and other nature stuff. This is why dogs are not allowed. The Gorge Trail and Rim Trail are there to share the preservation efforts with the public, where the state parks are more geared towards human recreation. The preserve is open year-round, and it is open to the public half hour before sunrise and closed a half hour after sunset. The hollow is named for W.J. Conkle, who scribed his name and the year 1797 into the sandstone within the gorge. Stay until the end for more general tips to help you enjoy your time at Conkle's Hollow. So why is this hike rated one of the top 5 in the Hocking Hills area? Conkle's Hollow actually has 2 trails, the Gorge Trail and the Rim Trail. Conkle's Hollow was made over time by erosion, and the water running through the gorge is continuing to create the hollow deeper. Made of blackhand sandstone, the gorge in some places is only 100 feet wide, and the walls can rise as much as 200 feet above the gorge floor. Blackhand sandstone is only visible in Ohio, and the material that forms the sandstone likely came from the Appalachian Mountains to the east. Here in the gorge, you can see the rock elevations up close and at a distance. Along the rock, you will see a variety of plants and trees. As you walk, you will be amazed at the ferns and flowers and moss below, while also admiring the birch, hemlock, and other trees towering above. These views are just the beginning. Just wait until you see what is at the end of the Gorge Trail. As we mentioned before, the preserve has 2 hikes. The Gorge Trail is the easier and shorter of the 2. If you only have time for one, we recommend this hike. The Gorge Trail takes a half hour to complete. 90% of the 1.5 mile round trip trail is paved and wheelchair accessible. This is a great hike for strollers too. But if you are like us, you will wonder why this trail is a top 5 and why you shouldn't turn around halfway. The trail crosses the stream a few times with bridges. One wooden bridge is slippery when wet, so walk carefully over that one. At the end of the accessible trail is an unimproved hike that takes you to a waterfall that eroded the gorge and a beautiful horseshoe hollow, with the waterfall and pool as its centerpiece. The waterfall in Conkle's Hollow falls at a height of 25 feet. Although not viewable from the paved trail, this part of the hike is the most amazing and surprising. Here, take in the panoramic views, but also look closely. You may see fish in the pool and other small treasures. Now that you've made it to the end of the trail, on the way back to the parking lot, Notice the rock ledges rising from the bottom of the gorge. Most of what you see while hiking the gorge is not visible from the rim due to the dense forest. Keep this in mind as you begin your hike up to the rim. Let's pause for a dad joke. Have you heard the joke about the skunk and the hiking trip? Never mind, it really stinks. As we turn to the rim trail, one thing to mention are the maps throughout the Hocking Hills area. Trail maps are located throughout the parks and do a nice job of helping you know where you are, how far you've been, and how far you have to go. Waypoints are marked with letters, and maps are generally available at trail intersections. Now for the part all moms will struggle with. The rim trail is a 2.1 mile loop that has almost 400 feet of elevation gain. Most of the elevation is at the beginning and end of the trail. Here at the trailhead, there are steps to ascend to the rim. During 2020, Ohio State Parks made most trails one way. This decision is still intact today and hopefully will continue on for the future. We see this rule increases safety and improves the experience of hiking in the parks and preserves. The stairs are the first measure of difficulty to the rim trail. At the top of the hike generally levels out, but the focus changes to a trail surface of roots and uneven rocks. Wet or icy conditions will make the trail more difficult. But now, you are on the rim edge and standing upwards of 200 feet from the gorge floor. If you want mom to have an instant anxiety attack, let your brood free range on the rim. I did, and let's just say we had some crucial conversations about a half mile into the trail. The edge of the rim is unlevel ground. In many places, the trail width on the rim is only 3 to 4 feet. So in order to stay on the trail, you need to walk between trees and the rim edge. And this is a preserve, so poison ivy appears throughout the trail. So why are we spending so much time talking about the risk of the rim trail? And why does the trail ignite our parental survival instincts? Every year, 1 to 2 people die hiking in the Hocking Hills area. Recently, a hiker, 45 years old, fell 60 feet to his death on the Conkle's Hollow Rim Trail. This was an adult. Before we continue with the rim trail, we have a couple more tips to make your time in Conkle's Hollow the best it can be. There is a link in the description to Conkle's Hollow website for you to reference with good content and to keep you updated right before your hike. We notice the parking lot will fill up quickly on the weekends. If you can, plan your trip to happen on a weekday. It will make for a better experience. Also, the only bathrooms are at the front of the parking lot near the preserve entrance. Make sure to use the bathroom before your hike. You will find the Gorge Trail is awesome, but hiking the Gorge Trail will lead you to want to tackle the Rim Trail too. Many families every year hike the Rim Trail, and you can too. It's a great hike. Just take it slow and safe. There is a picnic area at the parking lot and a big field, so make a day of it by bringing a soccer ball or football and a lunch. The preserve has a lot of shade so you can get out of the heat of summer. To do your part when hiking in the preserve, hike only on designated trails to allow the plants along the trail to live and grow. Now back to the Rim Trail. The trail adds to the Gorge Trail by giving you a view of the preserve from above. There are many overlooks where you can see down into the gorge and across the gorge and further. These really give you different perspective. We were surprised to notice that you really can't see down into the gorge very far. There are things you see from the rim you can't see from the gorge. We noticed a few sources of water from the rim and only one source of water from the Gorge Trail. Looking across the gorge, you can see the rim trail on the other side in some places. These views help you witness how tall the forest is and overall height of the preserve. The rim trail is a great hike if you have the time and your brood can hike safely. Ash Cave is one of the most popular trails in the Hocking Hills. Come with us to learn about this natural feature that spans 2 football fields and has provided shelter to many for centuries. Let's first discuss the location of the trail, and later we'll share trail details. Ash Cave is located in the southern portion of Hocking Hills State Park off Ohio Road 56. The road is deep in the forest and is a cool journey with turns and hills that slow you down and help you enjoy the landscape. From Old Man's Cave, Ash Cave is just 5 miles away, just past Cedar Falls. The whole area is pretty close with no more than 15 to 30 minute drive to all of the attractions and trails Hocking Hills has to offer. We'll discuss more about the facilities at the trailhead later, but first you may have wondered, why is Ash Cave called Ash Cave? Ash Cave got its name in a very simple way. In the 1800s, settlers came to the land and discovered the cave. Presumably, when they walked in, they noticed a length of ashes, long and wide, almost 100 feet long and 30 feet wide and 3 feet deep inside the cave. They named the area Ash Cave due to this feature. A little more on the history is next, and later we will share the hike details. So what is the history of Ash Cave? According to the park, the cave was used by Native Americans. An excavation and study of the ashes discovered various materials for fire, animal bones, arrows, pottery, and other items. There are more assumptions of why the ash pile was so high, long, and deep, but this was a perfect natural shelter and could be assumed a great place to handle the activities of life, including preparing food, storing items, sleeping, and more. Trails along Queer and Salt Creeks have been used by travelers for hundreds of years and was known as a route during the Frontier Wars. Later, settlers used Ash Cave for a church and gathering place. Today, of course, people hike the cave daily, but did you know the Columbus Symphony Orchestra uses the acoustics of the cave to put on a one-of-a-kind musical performance in a unique natural habitat? What is the easiest trail in Hocking Hills? Ash Cave is thought by many to be the easiest trail in Hocking Hills. However, Conkle's Hollow Gorge Trail may compete for easiest trail. Ash Cave Trail is paved at the beginning. There are benches along the trail to relax and enjoy the scenery. While you explore, look for the ferns and wildflowers that cover the forest floor. Even though the trail is a one-way loop with stairs after Ash Cave, I expect people with strollers and wheelchairs and other people who need to use the paved accessible trail could walk it back to the parking lot. Using the paved trail would make it easier than continuing up the stairs on the other side of Ash Cave. To plan for the trail, it's helpful to have good shoes. We choose to wear hiking shoes, but any shoe built for activity will work. If you want to stay at the cave longer, bring water and a snack. It's a short hike, and you don't need much. So how long does it take to hike Ash Cave? Ash Cave is a half-mile loop that takes about 30 to 40 minutes to complete. The time to complete depends on your ability, how busy the trail is, and how much time you want to spend exploring Ash Cave. Ash Cave appears as you are hiking the trail. At a distance, you can see it peek through the trees. As you get closer, you'll begin to realize the height and expanse of Ash Cave. Perspective is provided when you see people under the rock. If it is busy, you will have a hard time stopping and recognizing the magnificence of what you are witnessing. From the accessible trail, you can only see about half of Ash Cave. Only when you get under the rock can you notice that the cave extends around the corner behind trees and ferns and boulders blocking your view. Speaking of trees, you will be amazed at the forest of hemlock, beech trees, and other tall hardwoods. Let's talk more about Ash Cave, and later, we'll let you know why dogs may want to stay off this trail. How tall is Ash Cave? The expanse of the shelter is larger than life. The U-shaped cave is 700 feet wide from end to end and 90 feet tall, so Ash Cave is over 2 football fields in length. From the front lip of the overhang to the back of the cave is about 100 feet. Ash Cave could be the largest recessed cave in the entire eastern United States. If you slow down, you'll notice boulders on the ground. If you think a little more, those came from somewhere, probably from above. Now people every day trust that while they're hiking under Ash Cave, a boulder won't fall on them. Just something to think about as you explore the cave. Every good hike needs a dad joke. While hiking Ash Cave, I met 2 stones. One was big and shy, but the other was bolder. While you're watching, check out our description for websites with more information on Hocking Hills. Now let's get back to Ash Cave, and we'll let you know whether to bring your dogs. But first, can you get in the water at Ash Cave? People have an attraction to water. There is a waterfall over Ash Cave that comes from a tributary of Queer Creek. The water flows over the lip of the cave and cascades into a pond at the bottom of Ash Cave. We saw a steady flow of water, even though at first it was hard to see where the sound was coming from. With heavy rains, it flows much better. You will see people put their feet in the water at Ash Cave and explore the pool, but the water is off limits and entry into the water is prohibited by the Ohio Park Service and DNR. There is a safety reason for this rule. 1, you may slip on a rock or other hazard and cause injury. 2, the waterfall can carry debris over the ledge, and as the water can fall on you, so can logs and other debris from above. For these reasons, stay out of the water. When you think about why getting into the water is prohibited, it's a good idea. We'll tell you later how water played a part in forming Ash Cave. We welcome your comments. What hike are you looking forward to in Hocking Hills? Many of you are wondering, is Ash Cave dog friendly? Ash Cave is one of the easiest hikes in Hocking Hills. Dogs are allowed on Ash Cave Trail as they are on most trails in the region. Due to the popularity of the trail, make sure they are friendly and on a 6-foot leash. But there is a design feature of the trail that is painful for dogs and leads us to recommend that dogs avoid Ash Cave Trail. As you can see, we took our labs, but after Ash Cave, the trail continues up a series of steps. These steps and platforms are decked with metal grates. The grates have ridges in them for traction, and the grates are painful to our dogs and probably yours as well. If you have a small dog and can carry them, this is not an issue. For larger dogs, you will notice their pain as they ascend the stairs. It sucked. The trail is one way at this time, and therefore we continued up the stairs hoping each set of steps would be made of wood. Unfortunately, there are a lot of metal steps. Our dogs were super happy to get off the metal and back on the dirt trail. We didn't notice any blood after the steps, and there were no long-term effects. They just had a very unpleasant couple of minutes, and the experience is not something we want to repeat. This is the only place in Hocking Hills where we found this design was used. How was Ash Cave formed? Ash Cave was formed through erosion. The softer material that was under the current Ash Cave was washed away by years of water flowing through the region. The creek continues the erosion process today. When heavy rains cover the region, the water flows significantly and represents more clearly how the water can erode sandstone over time. You can actually see the creek flow next to the trail too. Now, let's briefly discuss the facilities and an important question. Are there bathrooms at Ash Cave? Ash Cave is a very popular trail. There are a couple of bathroom options. There are more modern toilets at the parking lot. At the trailhead, you will find pit toilets. There is more parking here than anywhere else other than Old Man's Cave. However, due to its popularity, you may not find a parking spot on busy days. At the parking lot, there is also a pavilion with tables for your use. You will love Campbell Cove Campground for all its family atmosphere, and if these views aren't enough, we look forward to sharing with you all the reasons you'll enjoy your stay. Let's get started. First, let's discuss the location of Campbell Cove. The RV park and campground is located on Lake Logan, just north of Hocking Hills off U.S. Highway 33. Located in the southeast corner of Ohio, Hocking Hills is less than an hour from Columbus. This is the best easy-off, easy-on campground in the region, providing a carefree driving experience. But everything Hocking Hills has to offer is about 15 minutes or less from Campbell Cove Campground. So what does Campbell Cove offer at the campground? Let's talk about campground entertainment now, and later we'll discuss what you'll find at your campsite. Campbell Cove has a lot to offer kids of all ages. If you are like us, you hike and visit the park some of the time and enjoy time in the campground as well. Located on site is an arcade for poor weather days. If you want to play outside, the playground has everything you would expect, including a slide, climbing tower, swings, tetherball, and gaga ball. Gaga ball is a version of dodgeball played in an octagon-shaped ring as shown here. If you're looking to relax while watching your brood on the playground, there's a patio behind the campground store with wonderful chairs, and a ping pong table too. Located adjacent to the playground is a large jumping pad. Across the main campground road in the park is a swimming pond with a large beach. The pond looks clean and has a fountain in the middle. The pond is separated by a floating rope to designate the swimming area from the fishing area of the pond. It's a cool way to provide a swimming experience. Consider that we saw a family paddleboarding on the pond and having fun. You'd never see that in a campground pool. How was the fishing? Our brood caught multiple bass and enjoyed the catch and release entertainment of the pond. Campbell Cove is also located on 400-acre Lake Logan. Boats and paddle sports are welcome, but a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit is enforced. Kayaks can be rented at the campground office. Limiting the speed on the lake makes this a great location for fishing and other relaxing activities. Some of the species you can catch in Lake Logan include largemouth bass, channel catfish, bluegill, and crappie. Near the lake is a pickleball court. We noticed kids playing the game as well as using the concrete surface for razors and other scooters. Not to be missed is Worm Burner Park Golf. This is a different take on mini golf. Played on real grass, the holes are longer than mini golf and provide a unique experience. They have clubs and balls included in the greens fees. You can learn more in the campground store. If that is not enough, Campbell Cove has the mining experience. By purchasing a bag in the store, you can sift through the sand with water and discover hidden treasure. Hopefully, all those activities gives you at least one reason for you and your brood to stay here. Now, let's talk about what you can find at your site. Each site has a gravel pad and a large amount of grass. The sites are really spaced out well with a lot of room. RV sites include full hookup with water, sewer, and electric. Each site is equipped with 20 amp, 30 amp, and 50 amp outlets. Picnic tables are included with each site on a concrete patio. The fire pits are metal rings with grill grates. Campbell Cove is set up for taking care of those chores that happen while camping. The RV park is updated with Wi-Fi service throughout the park and it works. I had no problems working while in the park and all of our devices ran well when connected. Speaking of the office, the store has a gift shop with shirts, magnets, hats, and other gift shop items. You will also find camping supplies, snacks, and drinks. Firewood and ice are also available for sale. If you are looking for ideas, there is a pamphlet station in the campground store with material from many of the local venues. Dumpsters are located near the office, and they have a mixed-use recycling dumpster so you can recycle your cans, glass, plastic, paper, and cardboard. The bathhouses are set up well with clean, private bathrooms. Each bathroom has a locking door with toilet, sink, and shower. The shower heads are adjustable and provide a good supply of consistent temperature water. Are you like us and travel with dogs? In fact, a lot of the video of the campground was taken while we were walking dogs, and Campbell Cove is great for dogs. With plenty of grass and open space, walking dogs is relaxing for you and your pet. We're always happy to see way stations in the park, and Campbell Cove has at least 2 with bags and a trash can. Dogs can also swim in Lake Logan. It's always good to know what to expect near the campground. Located on the other side of the highway is a Walmart Supercenter, Tractor Supply, and Kroger. There is a Dollar General nearby too. If you need a quick bite to eat, many of your favorite chain fast food restaurants are located within a few minutes. If you are looking for a great bar with good food, the Home Tavern is excellent. But if you need gourmet coffee, there is an Oasis coffee shop at the campground. We'll put links in our description for the coffee shop and the campground for you to learn more. Come on a walk with us as we discuss the 5 things you'll hate when you visit Hocking Hills State Park. We look forward to sharing you views of Hocking Hills as you learn more. First on our list is dogs. Allowed everywhere in Hocking Hills State Park, dogs will be on the trails and are only as good as their trainers. You'll come across dog poop on the trails that should have been picked up by their owner and disposed properly. Dogs are also required to be on a 6-foot leash. While we were there, all dogs were leashed, but some weren't necessarily under the control of their owners. You could see the dog was in control as it welcomed every other person to pet and give them attention. Other dogs will be aggressive, but Hocking Hills requires only friendly dogs in their park. The trails are narrow in many spots, so it is also hard for you to get around dogs and their owners. We'll get back to dogs a little later, but why are you interested in visiting Hocking Hills? Post a comment to let us know. Selfies is number 2, and believe me, there are a lot of photo ops as you will see here on the trail to Old Man's Cave. When it is busy, everyone will want their photo taken. You won't have any opportunity to enjoy the sights without people in your view and in your photo. Plan on seeing tripods, selfie sticks, and groups of people taking photos at Upper Falls, Devil's Bathtub, Old Man's Cave, and Lower Falls. We're almost halfway through, but stay until the end as the last one is the best. There is something you need to know about Hocking Hills. The park is broken out into about 6 main areas. In order to see all of Hocking Hills, you need to drive and find parking spots. But the drive is beautiful. In fact, Ohio designated the Hocking Hills Scenic Byway to highlight the drive and earn the distinction of being one of America's byways. But when Hocking Hills is busy, traffic doesn't flow well on the 2-lane roads that connect the park. We found this out late morning at Ash Cave. When we arrived, traffic was having a hard time moving in and out of the main parking lot across the bridge. The parking lot was only a third full. Gridlock occurs on the weekends when the park is full of vacationers. But if you get on the trail, you may come to hate hiking Hocking Hills. But first, every hiking video needs a dad joke. What do you call a dog in the library? A hush puppy. The Gorge trails are beautiful and the waterfalls are amazing, but the trails aren't the best. You will quickly come to find many of the steps are uneven and not well maintained. The technical ability required to hike Hocking Hills may be more than you can handle. Rock House Trail, for example, has over 200 steps and less than 1 mile of trail. The hike to Whispering Cave is difficult with rocks, roots, and sometimes trees over the trail. For those with dogs, do you like it when others come up to you and pet your dog? If not, you're going to hate Hocking Hills. Many people will come up to you and pet your dogs. Kids will want to pet your dogs. Many won't ask, but you feel bad saying no to the ones that do ask. You know this destroys the training you've worked on to maintain obedience. What do you say to people when they want to pet your dog? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you know Hocking Hills is one of the best state parks in the United States? But the biggest thing you will hate when visiting Hocking Hills might have to do with its location. The park is located less than 4 hours from Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Lexington, and Pittsburgh. The accessibility of Hocking Hills State Park to all of these major cities makes it a travel destination for many. The Hocking Hills region is full of creative, unique rental properties, campgrounds, hotels, and weekend getaways are popular. If you go on the weekends, you're going to hate all the other people that want to see Hocking Hills State Park too. The trails are narrow and the parking lots can't handle all of the people. Restaurants will be busy and stores will be packed. Weekdays are busy too. But you can still enjoy Hocking Hills State Park. If you like this ultimate guide, make sure to check out this video on nearby Cuyahoga Valley National Park next.